Welcome to Beyond Repair. Today I have my 2019 Ninja 400. We're gonna do the basic oil change and I'm gonna show you the easiest way to do it. At the same time, how can you make sure that you do everything right. So let's start with what you need. You most definitely gonna need a new oil. This is the new logo, the brand new oil that I just got in the mail. It's gonna run you about 55 bucks for 4 liters. You only need half of it. So, and if you don't know, your oil change interval is every year, no matter if you ride it or not, every year or 3,000 miles. You're looking like 25 bucks investment for the oil. Your filter is about 15 bucks. It's gonna be 303. Doesn't matter, you take K&N or high flow, HF 303 or KN 303 is your oil filter. And why am I using not the original filters? Because I like to put my socket on top of the filter and simply undo it. Well, if you don't have that kind of filter on your bike, I would suggest you to buy one of those right away, or simple oil filter remover, because stock filters do not come with the nut and it might be a little bit more challenging. Obviously you're gonna need some star or Allen to undo 2 bolts on the bottom. You need a flat head to pop that plastic piece, and of course you're gonna need the 17mm for the drain bolt. That's pretty much it. I also encourage you to grab some thick paper, or better off grab some foil paper, which I'm currently out. I need to get some foil paper and you will see why. It makes your life a little bit easier later on. I'm just gonna take the 4, and this one is gonna be 5 or 6, let's see, 5. So all we need is 4 and 5. Let's remove those 2 first. Take the 5, remove it. You're gonna take the flat head and pop that clip. I'm gonna show it to you how it works close up. So this is locked. That's how it's gonna be sitting. Pry, open, and pull it all together. Save it. Now lift it sideways and kind of up, so you can release those 2 mounting points. Put it out of the way. Now you have better access to your oil filter. Make sure if your engine is still warm, you're not gonna touch the hot headers, but it's just a precaution. So 17, crack this bad boy loose, get ready to drain some oil, and don't drop your washer. Technically, on every oil change, you're supposed to change it. Technically. I'm not gonna do it today, but I promise you, as soon as I'm done with this oil change, I will go and order a new one for the next oil change. So now, while it's draining, don't forget to go on the other side and open your cap. This way you get air into the engine, and you're not gonna have a whole lot of oil, because like I said, it's about 2 liters, 2.5, like about 2.5 US quads, maybe a little bit more than 2.5 liters. This thing will drain for a while, so you can take a break, or you can start undoing your oil filter. And luckily on Ninja 400 your headers are away, so you don't have to worry about it. I brought some paper to wrap it, because I so used to do it on the bigger bikes where you have to wrap the headers with the foil paper so they don't get lubricated. In this case, we're just simply gonna remove it, and it's probably gonna be the same 17. That's right, that's the same 17. If your oil filter is too tight, never ever do the same job with the same mechanic again, because your oil filter has to be extremely loose. Take the oil filter, undo it, and let me show you what's really important. We're gonna drain the oil from the filter so it's gonna be much easier to bring it to the store and recycle. But when you flip it over, if you don't see black gasket right here, you have to make sure that you're gonna remove it, otherwise you double gasket and it's gonna leak. So gasket is here, we're good to go. I need to fill the oil filter with the oil just a little bit, so the engine will not be running with no oil for a few seconds. That's kind of important. See the gasket? So make sure you have the gasket. You have the gasket. Now my can is completely broken into pieces, but I'm still gonna give it a try. Nice and easy, bring some level. Keep it going until you see it like halfway filled. Alright, so the oil stays in the filter right now, as you can tell, but as soon as you start rotating, it will get inside and kind of disappears. That's what we want. So like third of the filter is already filled with oil. So you're not gonna run the engine with no oil even for a few seconds. Now we're gonna place the filter back. Remember, your hands will be well lubricated, so I suggest you to wear gloves. Clean the oil filter as much as it gets, and we're gonna re-clean it again. Now old goes here, and I'm looking for my socket. Barely tight. I don't even look at the torque specs anymore, because you keep going with the filter until it's snug and just make a quarter of the turn, you'll be okay. If it doesn't go, if it's too hard, you already over torque it. Keep that in mind. So the oil pretty much stopped from the drain plug. What I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna take that drain plug and I'm gonna try to clean it. Washer, drain plug itself, so the surface is gonna be nice and clean on the crush washer, again the one that you're supposed to replace, and we're gonna just place it back. It doesn't take more than like 20 foot-pounds, I don't remember exactly, maybe 15 or something around those lines, so barely snug. That's it, like easy. That's all it takes. Now your engine is empty. Let's get some oil. If you're gonna be using smaller 950 milliliter or 1 US quad bottles, it's gonna be much easier, but we're not gonna go that route. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna use all I got in this leftover so I can recycle my oil, use this can to recycle the oil. That one is done. Next we're gonna go with the new one, and you have to remember that we're only gonna take less than half. Moreover, we're gonna take only a third of the can, and we're gonna wash the glass, because it's never gonna be the same amount of oil removed from the engine, no matter how hard you try. So the only way to properly measure how much you need is just by adding oil slowly and keep checking. All right, I can see right away oil shows up on the glass. It's not enough yet, and I would prefer to see the oil glass almost completely full, like up to the brim, because as soon as you turn the engine, the oil will find its way around the engine. So what you want to do, you want to make sure that you have just a little bit extra before you crank the engine, but again, you don't want to overfill and ditch your brand new oil, right? Somewhat in the middle, it shows almost full. Yeah, it shows on the full, so I'm gonna add spoon. And now we're just gonna look at the glass. Let me try to give you a better angle. As you can see, it's up to the brim. You barely see anything on the glass. Right now I'm gonna clean up my cap. We're gonna place it right here so it's not gonna be a puking oil while we turn in the engine. Cap on, slightly tight, oil up to the brim, and all you need to do is just crank the engine. Don't try to run it, because if you run it, the oil will need time to settle, but you need to start the engine for maybe 2-3 seconds and cut it off. 1, 2, 3, cut. It lets you build up the pressure inside, so it's kind of gonna find all the crevices and all the spots inside of the engine and fill it. And it also helps to fill the oil filter. So remember, it was almost full. Now it's a little bit lower because the oil filter took some oil. And also, when you do that, you can actually test and make sure that your drain plug is tight and your oil filter is properly secured, and it's not like double O-ring, so it's not gonna be leaking oil. Because if it would be, well, you better know about it before you're gonna top off the engine with all the oil and run out of it. You know what I mean? So now it shows me right in the middle between two lines, which is ideal level. What do you want to do? You want to fill your oil pretty much to the upper level, but don't overfill. Since the level is just perfect, I'm gonna turn the engine, let it run for 1 minute, shut it off, let it sit for a few minutes, and recheck again. Okay, right now you're gonna need at least a minute to get it settled, and we will recheck. Nothing is dripping, everything is tight. Let's check the oil. It didn't settle yet, so let's wait for a few minutes. Meanwhile, if your exhaust is not too hot, what you can do, you can take a towel, spray some brake cleaner or chain cleaner around the areas where we did the oil. And now we can simply wipe it out, so you're not gonna have anything on the exhaust or on the filter. It's gonna stay nice and dry, and you're not gonna have some oil residual thinking that something is leaking. All right, it's been at least 5 minutes. Let's take a look. For Ninja 400, it's totally cool to wait just 5 minutes. For most of the other bikes, like bigger bikes, I always encourage you to leave it alone like for 30 minutes before you're gonna top off the engine, because you will most likely overfill your engine. So in this case, we're just gonna need just a little bit more oil. As you can tell, it's right in between two lines, but I would like to add a tiny bit more so I can be on the full mark, knowing that those engines tend to eat some oil. Well, if you ask me which one, what year, and so on, I can explain. Most of them will not consume too much oil, but when you have tuned engine unlocked, which is my case, it will over rev the engine and eventually you will eat up some oil. They also come from the factory and multiple sources saying that two bikes will be assembled differently, and you always have to watch out for your Ninja 400 or Z400 if it's consuming oil, because mine actually eats up quite a lot after like 1500 miles combining street and track riding. So that's it for today. It's easy peasy lemon cheesy. Now all you have left is just to put that plastic piece back, connect everything in reverse order, and you'll be good to go. Don't forget to cover your oil fill cap, make sure everything is nice and clean, and you're good to go. I hope this manual was helpful for you. If it is, make sure to hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. I do a lot of videos. I have the whole series for the Ninja 400 build, where you can see a bunch of parts that are already on the bike and bunch of parts that are coming up. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Since you watched the video until the very end, I would like to give you a pro tip. Well, that T5, the bigger bolts left and right on the side, on both sides, they tend to disappear when you do track days and when you're riding hard, because they go straight to the metal bracket, so it tends to get more vibrations. I highly encourage you to put some thread lock on those two bolts, because I've seen the cases where mine disappeared. Those two, I would suggest you to put some blue thread lock on them. Otherwise you might find yourself with floppy fairings on the track. So that's it. See you next time.